as I said, we spun wheels yesterday to see who would do reports on which game. We were each told to lock in on one game, really lock in, learn as much as we can, bring back all of our findings. Sean, you had the Capitals at the Flyers.
I did.
Your report is due, sir.
I feel I don't like the fact that I'm starting because as producer, I'm privy to the fact that you both have elements to your report. And at no point was that discussed. So I'm just here talking at you.
This is perfect though, because if we're trying to do like a classroom presentation feel, there's always the kid who shows up and goes, I didn't know we were supposed to have a report.
I didn't know we were supposed to have a PowerPoint. No one told me.
This is perfect.
Yeah, so I watched the Philadelphia Flyers take on the Washington Capitals. And my biggest takeaway from this game was that it was not a game between two bad teams. It was a game between two teams that have a complete and utter lack of high-level talent in their prime. One of the most boring hockey games I've ever watched. The second period was god-awful. There was 4 power plays in the first period. It took until 15 seconds into the 4th power play for the power play team to have a shot on goal during that power play. The Flyers' blue line is kind of a mess. They gave up 2 shorthanded goals, both of which were just bad turnovers on the blue line. Another goal came from a bad... Jamie Drysdale just had a tough night. He was kind of getting bullied a little bit.
So the power play has not been fixed so far.
So yeah, that's my thing. Is like coming into this game, I hadn't watched any Flyers games yet. Everyone was like, was one of the worst power plays last year, but don't worry. It's back. It's one of the better ones this year. No, it's fucking not. Their power play is bad. It's interesting that I know this is something we were going to talk about later, the lineup changes for the Philadelphia Flyers, because Torts was making them like on the fly in the middle of the game last night. Shout out Emily Kaplan, a real life goat. Well, I guess not a real life goat. She is the goat.
A literal goat.
She is. She reminds us of a goat.
In the middle of her, she was doing. I think a lot of times and this is not about the game, but a lot of times the sideline reporter job gets dissed because people think you don't get anything from them, they're pointless. Emily Kaplan did a very good job at it last night. On multiple instances, she made actual observations that informed the crowds of things. And at one point, she was talking to Torts on the bench. She noticed that he made a lineup change and asked him about it in real time and got a comment on him from that. So that was very cool. What is Spencer Carberry's deal? You can't look like that and not have a thing. I know what his deal is, but he's got a very intense look, and I just don't know. He's not you gotta have a Torts thing or a Wah thing. You gotta have a thing to you, and he just kind of seems like a normal guy for looking like Vin Diesel. Ultimately, my takeaway from this game is that I wish I could take back everything I said about the Flyers in our season preview, where I thought there was a chance they could do something, because there is not. They are not a good hockey team.
Flyers 1-4-1 on the season. Not off to a great start.
Bad.
Pete, tell us about the Stars at the Sabres.
Okay, not to brag, I do have a presentation. The Sabres, they beat the Stars 4-2. It was a pretty interesting game, and I will say the Buffalo Sabres are back.
Whoa!
They're back. Mainly, they're back to being back. So, Sean, go ahead. The Buffalo Sabres back to being back. There is a thing called a winning streak.
Webster's defines. Are you going to do one of these?
Yes, Webster defines a winning streak as a series of consecutive successes or a run of good luck. And as pointed out in this graphic, I hope you're a visual learner, the Buffalo Sabres have won consecutive games. They beat the Chicago Blackhawks, and now they have beaten the Dallas Stars. So they're back. They're back to being back. 2 wins in a row. Got a chance to stretch it to 3. But because I'm kind of an analytics guy. I'm a numbers guy. So let's dive in here. Analytics here. Peyton Krebs scored last night. His first goal of the season. He has 1 goal after being punched by Rasmus Dahlin in practice. He didn't have 1 goal before being punched by Rasmus Dahlin in practice. So this is a step forward in the right direction. And now I think that Rasmus Dahlin is painted into a corner where he kind of has to start punching both other players, Dylan Cousins, and himself.
I love this.
Dylan Cousins can't even hit an open net.
Rasmus Dahlin has looked pretty bad at a lot of points this season.
Well, he just started a charitable foundation, so
have almost everybody on the Buffalo
maybe
Sabres.
Is that a true thing? Because
I just saw them announce it. It's the Rasmus Dahlin Foundation.
Oh,
So
well.
cool day to call him out.
Well, he's been practicing at donations and giveaways. So famously,
too charitable.
He is a fan of pizza parties, and he was throwing around some pizzas last night.
Oh, no.
So not to be overly mean to Rasmus Dahlin, but like punching himself in the face could help. Okay,
It might be his way out.
Next slide, some more analytics. Ryan McLeod. You're a big fan of Ryan McLeod. Ryan McLeod has 4 goals in his last 4 games, putting him on his career 858 goals away from Wayne Gretzky. On the other side, traded for Matthew Savoy, 0 goals this season. So
Tough.
0 goals in his career, 894 goals away from Wayne Gretzky.
Not an impact player.
And after the game, Peyton Krebs did say, not joking, Ryan McLeod, very fast out there. Owen Power's play is good. He had 3 assists last night.
He's a dog.
The Sabres power play, very bad. 0% conversion rate still on the season, 0 for 22. You got to figure that out.
I don't want them
What's
to
their
ever
net?
Their net? Shit.
It's a negative number because they've allowed a shorthanded goal.
-2?
I don't know what it is,
-1?
but it's at least a -1.
I don't want them to ever score on the power play at this point. It's the funniest thing in the
Pete,
world.
I am
especially if they're
so-
going to win games without scoring on the power play.
Pete, I'm so proud to be your friend. This is my favorite thing that maybe has ever happened on the show. Continue. I hope it doesn't end soon.
It's going to end soon. Fuck. Go on, one more. Another standout last night, Tage Thompson. 2-point night, goal and an assist. He's on a 5-game point streak. He has 8 points in 8 games this season. That's a point per game player for those who are bad at math. And he is 1 Tage tall.
Oh, wow. Those are numbers.
You could argue he's more than a Tage tall because he wears skates. Or he's less.
He's always 1 Tage tall, though. No matter what he's wearing, he's always 1 Tage
metric,
tall.
Yes.
The metric is dynamic.
Yes,
Dynamic
exactly.
metric. Okay.
So
It
to
adapts.
wrap things up, the Sabres lost last night because the deserve to win a meter had the Dallas Stars at 51.9%. Tough loss for the Sabres. They will get back on the horse. I felt like this was a step in the right direction for the Sabres against a really good Dallas Stars team. So, yeah, that's my presentation. Hey, thanks for watching the channel.
We appreciate everybody who checks out our stuff, but 80% of our viewers are not actually subscribed to this page, so if you could smash that subscribe button, it would go a very long way for us.
The more subscriptions we have, the more visibility we get from YouTube, which allows us to do more.
So press that button. Thank you. I have an extremely tough act to follow. Both of your presentations have been incredible. Here is my presentation, Sean, on the Lightning at the Devils. What happens when Devils play hockey against Lightning? Hats get thrown really far. Confusing? Let me explain. The New Jersey Devils hosted the Tampa Bay Lightning in a game of hockey Tuesday night as part of the NHL's Frozen Frenzy, which is a scheduling gimmick and not a dairy treat.
Hello, I'd like an ice cream.
In goal for the Devils was Jake Allen. Jonas Johansson took the net for Tampa. One of the highlights was the game's first goal scored by Jack Hughes. Jesper Bratt had a really nice one-touch pass in the neutral zone that sprung Hughes on a breakaway. It was Hughes' second goal of the season. The Lightning tied the game 3 minutes and 7 seconds later on the power play. That's exactly 187 seconds between this guy scoring and this guy scoring. And speaking of this guy, the Lightning have a guy named Point who looks geeky, and a guy named Geeky who was looking for his first NHL point. Confusing? Let me explain. Connor Geeky is a player for the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Devils took a 2-1 lead 51 seconds into the second period, but Tampa scored 5 goals in a row, including 3 straight from Brandon Hagel for a natural hat trick.
How do you know so much about this?
This was a road game for the Lightning, so the tradition of throwing hats was not followed as heavily as it would have been in Tampa. Devils fans wouldn't throw hats and Devils players wouldn't throw towels. Confusing? Let me explain. Throwing in the towel is an old sports term dating back to when players would wash their uniforms after games. Throwing in the towel meant you were all done showering and drying off, so you didn't need your towel anymore. Trailing 6-2 entering the third period, the Devils scored twice in the first 6 minutes to make it a 2-goal game. The Lightning scored both on the power play and shorthanded to get to 8 goals, but the Devils kept it close with a Stefan Nason goal with 7 minutes left. Both of these goalies played the entire game. I'm not sure why.
I guess we'll never know.
Anthony Cirelli had 4 assists. That's like if you took all 4 of the globally recognized oceans and made each of them an Anthony Cirelli assist. I know what you're thinking. Lightning and oceans? We're told to stay away from water when there's lightning, so shouldn't fish die when lightning strikes the ocean? Well, for starters, lightning doesn't usually hit the ocean. It's 10 times more likely to strike land than it is to strike oceans. And when it does, the fish are underwater, so they end up okay. The Devils didn't though. They lost 8-5. Anything you think I missed, just let me know. Thanks for checking this out. All right, that's your
Jesus Christ.
your Lightning Devils recap.
Oh, this is the best because we did a thing that was very reflective of each of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody said it would have been so much funnier if Sean had to go last after both our presentations.
See, that's the thing is, I don't think that is reflective of me because I kick ass at presentations. That was like my bag. So if I had known we were doing elements and stuff, I potentially could have shown out.
We all silly like the mayor.